So we're getting into two of the hugest, probably, songs of their respective decades, at least, um, if not in their whole genres altogether. Pac and Dre's "California Love" and "Hotel California" by the Eagles, which are both massive, 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 massive records. And you told me, I don't know, about a month ago you wanted to do this. And I sat down and tried to write notes on the Eagles, and I just couldn't get there, man. I just couldn't get there. And so we kicked it around for a while, and I came back to it after, actually, it was after the episode that you and Mike did about the second disc of Pac's
All eyes on me.
record, All Eyes on Me. Yeah. And so I listened to that, and I was like, and I came back around to this, and I don't know what was stuck, but whatever it was unstuck after that. So yeah, I'm
Like
ready
that.
to go.
It'd be like that. Like I just texted you. It's like I low key have been wanting to do this.
Right.
I'm gonna give you a moment of just my insight on this in all things.
All right.
Oftentimes, I would probably say I feel like, and if you feel like I'm wrong, tell me. I feel like 75 to 80% of the time that we've done these pairings,
Mm-hmm.
that the hip hop song has had more intricacies and
Yeah.
nuance
Yeah.
to
I would say at
discuss.
least that much. Yeah. If not more.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Just kind of putting it on a
Yeah.
roundabout curve. Let's say 75. The parent and usually and also too, I think part of that occurs because I think the record has been selected on the hip hop side, or I guess the kind of list of stuff that you throw at me and then the list of
Mm-hmm.
what I'm. These songs are higher in the canon
Yeah, for sure.
on the side. This is one of the rare moments where I think actually the depth and the iconic nature of the song falls on the popular culture side of the song,
I agree.
because
I think it does.
that Hotel California is quite frankly one of the greatest songs ever created.
Yeah, it's an incredible, incredible song
Okay.
for lots and lots and lots of reasons. I mean, just on the
Yeah.
lyrical level, which is what you were referencing right then. I mean, like the lyrics are, I mean, people have chewed up those lyrics and tried to figure out what the fuck he's talking about for however, it was released in 1970. I should have written this down, 78, I think.
76.
76. 76.
70.
Um, so so
That's
for
the
what was
band,
that 25,
right?
almost 50 years? Yeah,
Right. Right.
it's just
No, so I think this is one of the few songs that it's like, well, doesn't everybody kind of know a piece to this song? And if you don't know a piece to this song, it's definitely one of the most iconic guitar riffs ever, too.
mhm.
Right? So it's
Yeah,
like even if you don't know the words, you know the riff, right?
right. Both
Right.
I mean, there's lots of guitar stuff going on in here. They had two, three guitarists at this time, and so there you have I played actually a YouTube short of just playing like the guitar, like the verse part.
Mhm.
Um, and that is one of those, yeah, super, super iconic guitar riffs. I may dub it over sometime somewhere in here just to play, just because it's isn't, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you'll hear it, and not you, but like the listener will hear it and be like, oh yeah, I've heard that before. And then like the guitar solo outro, which is like 2 or 3 minutes long, is not a whole other song by itself, but it's um you don't see very many songs coming from this world, kind of the country folk rock kind of world, with guitar solos that are like that. From the country side anyway. From the blues side you do, but not from where they're coming from.
So how would you define the Eagles as a band? Um,
Let me pull out my notes too. I want to make sure I'm not forgetting things. So I wrote some stuff about this. Um,
Genre wise, country?
um, I would say they're more rock and roll than country, but like, um, so
Feels
if you
country.
need like a framing device for them, if you
Yes.
have like the Beatles on one pole,
Hmm.
um, or like one end of the pole with the harmonies and that kind of thing,
Hmm.
and Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson, Hank Williams on the far other end, I would say I would put them like about halfway in between those two. as if you
So
need like a framing device.
they're
Yeah,
country rock.
yeah,
They're country,
yeah.
right?
And there's some songs like "Take It Easy," for example, that are like pretty straight ahead country sounding songs.
Standing on the corner of Winslow, Arizona, such a fine sight to see. It's some girl, my lord, in a flatbed Ford, slowing down to take a look at me.
It's one of
Come on,
those songs that is in the ether that everybody knows, just like the opening hook of California Love, the California Love, like that part, like
Right.
everybody, regardless of if you
You
paid
know what
attention
record
to
it,
it, like you've heard that before, right?
yeah, and you know what record it is when you
Yeah,
hear that. Right. Hmm.
hear those three notes, right? It's one of the same kind of deals, yeah.
Okay.
So that's how I characterize them, really, like halfway between
Hmm.
the Beatles and like Cash, Willie, those kind of guys.
Hmm. No, no, no. I like that. I mean, that I didn't really have a quite way to describe musically how to describe them, but I think that would probably be the most accurate way because, like, when you said Willie Nelson, I immediately thought of the songwriting quality
Hmm.
as well.
Yeah.
Right.
And this and Hotel California specifically is probably is adding in something else too. It's not just those two things because both of those artists that I named, the straight country music and the Beatles songs are known for like short poppy direct kind of songs, and this is not that. So it's
Can I
adding
tell,
this particular song is adding a third thing in a little jam bandy stuff too.
can I tell you what I think it might be?
Mm.
And you know, the only reason that I knew that it came out in '76 is because I had to research that because it sounded so futuristic.
Hmm.
So I think part of like the infectious and the appeal to it, even at the time. What other song like what sounds like that? Because if you actually like think
There's not
about
a
it,
lot.
it sounds about 10 years ahead,
Hmm.
like musically,
Yeah.
than what you're hearing from other bands close to their ilk or artists of their ilk at the time. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah. This is like 20 times 26. I looked it up. It's 26 times platinum in the United States and 32 million records sold worldwide. Like it's a huge record. It lost the Grammy that year actually to a record that it probably there's not a long list of things it probably should have lost to, but they lost to Fleetwood Mac's Rumors. That was that year.
Well,
Which is like that one I accept. Like that's a perfectly fine. That's one of the
okay.
best records that's ever been made ever.
So you want to know what? Remember what we were just talking about off camera?
Hmm.
Conversation about Fleetwood Mac's Rumors and Stevie Nicks and all that. So
Yeah.
like that's how deep rumors run. So you know,
No,
so
that record is everywhere, everywhere. But
even
this one
more.
is too. This Hotel California is too. Like
Right,
it's
right.
uh,
Mm-mm. I mean, you know, you can win the record sales title and lose the Grammy, though. You know,
yeah. No,
that's the
it's not a it's not a like. I mean, I know you and Mike have talked a lot about how that's not usually or not always a good like way to judge something, but it's just giving people another frame of reference for like how massive this is.
So can I submit something to you? Doing this show with you has altered my view on that slightly,
Mm,
but not totally. Because here's why: when you bring up something like this and you talk about the records that have been sold,
hmm.
so we knock artists in the hip hop spectrum who make easy, simple, sing songy
Right,
things. Like that gets mocked in this culture, and it's
right.
almost man. I mean, and this is the man in me that's older. It's like, man, you know how much money that you're missing
Yeah.
by like
You
listen,
can do
you're spending
both. You can do
you're
both.
spending right, you're spending more time writing these intricate songs than they are doing this, and they're set, you know, and so it's
Hmm.
like one of those things when I get older, it's like, well, hold on. There has to be more of a middle ground between that musical integrity
Hmm.
hierarchy and
Yeah.
the ability to just make infectious, fun shit.
Yeah.
It's okay to do both, like you
Yeah.
said.
Like, and there's room for both. Like, there is, and there's
There's
nothing wrong
room
with
on
it.
the stage. Yeah, there's room on the stage to do both.
Yeah.
And often what happens in hip hop culture is we pigeonhole our artists a lot. Like this happens to Nas a lot,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like, well, he don't sound the way he sounded on Illmatic and it was written. It's like, well, nobody ever sounded like that. And why does
He's
that
also
happen?
not 17 anymore, for fuck's
Right,
sake. Like he's
right.
not.
17, 19, or 21, like he's a grown man. But these things happen in hip hop where we don't, it's very neverlandish, where it's
Mm-hmm.
like we don't want our heroes to grow up. We kind of want
Mm-hmm.
them to stay like teenagers, embridled with passion and
Yep.
poverty and poetry forever. And it's like, no, fuck that. Go live the American dream, make yourself wealthy, provide for your family for generations by any
Right.
means. And so that sometimes like the simplistic and infectious nature of this things, and this is what makes this also brilliant to me, is it's like, oh no, this is complicated. This is musically ahead of its time, and it's infectious. Oh no, that's hard.
Yeah. It's
That's
hard to do. Like the verses are very complex poetry and they're allegorical probably, and they've got all kinds of crap going on, which we can dig into later. But it's um but welcome to the Hotel California, anything like I mean
such
like
a place, such
such
a
a
love.
lovely face. Like that's not complicated at all, right?
Yeah,
And that's something that everybody instantly recognizes, and it's a melody that everybody can sing. It's like it's and that's one of those things that I mean, obviously the initial comparison in my brain touched because of California, right? But
right.
um they are they both have multiple hooks in them that are instantly singable for both of them. Like the California Love, the part that where he drops in at the very beginning, and then the California knows how to party. Like, I mean, that
Mhm.
part obviously, and he also has, you know, like even I can quote the verses of California Love. Like it's and I can do them sort of ish in a way that I can't do some more intricate stuff too.
Well, this is what I mean about how it's kind of made me change my view of things. Well, everything that you're talking about how there's room for both, like to be poetic, but for it to
Mm-hmm.
be simple, to be infectious.
Mm-hmm.
Tupac,
Yep, that's it.
right? And so, he actually maybe isn't being lauded enough for him mastering that formula.
Yeah.
The
It's
hip
hard.
hop
It's hard to do.
Yes, but especially like in the hip hop spectrum,
Hmm.
and his biggest knock on him has always been, well, Pac's not super lyrical, but it's like
Right.
Pac songs are better than your songs.
Yeah, they are.
So what?
Yeah.
Right.
And they still have a message and they still hit you in the chest. Like it's not
Like I truly say this, it's like, well,
you don't miss anything.
people want to know why Tupac and Biggie live on so much. Well, they made better songs than almost everybody else. Like their 20 best songs could still beat almost anybody today. They've
Hmm.
been gone literally longer than they were here now,
Hmm.
or just as long as they were here, they've been gone now, as far as being on this earth. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the fact that their catalog is still that strong, that it's like, I mean, like, how about this? Like, me and Mike tomorrow morning are going to do the Patreon show, and we're going to do Get Rich or Die Trying
Hmm.
versus It's Dark and Hell is Hot.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Okay, so listen to what I'm about to tell you.
Mm.
DMX and 50 Cent, God bless DMX's soul, and and God bless 50 just in general.
Mm.
Don't neither one of them dudes beating no Tupac or Biggie in no song battle,
No,
going
no,
like
no, 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 no.
25 songs. Think about what I'm saying. Think about how much more material those guys recorded. They still not winning no 20 songs, 25.
No, no,
And even with
no.
even having albums like Get Rich or Die Trying and It's Dark and Hell is Hot in their catalog, which has about probably half the songs that they would use
Right.
respectively on each.
Yeah.
Right. Still not enough. No, it's not
No.
enough. Mm-mm.
And
But
Big had two records, right? It's
three
I
if
mean,
you
I
want,
know
like if
other
you want to right, if you
right.
want to parse it, it's three. I mean, when I look at Big, it's like here's how you really need to look at it. It's like, well, he really only made about 36, 37 album
Right.
songs,
Right.
Andrew. Think about this. So it's like the fact that you could take his 20 best songs and
And
probably
take
beat almost
20 of like that's more than half
right.
of them.
You would right, but you would beat everybody except for Tupac and like Nas and Jay. And even then
And
that's
they've
not
done way longer than yeah.
right.
They
Even
have a
then
lot more to
not
pick from.
Even then, not promise. Right.
Yeah.
Me and Mike did a like mock battle between
Hmm.
like Tupac and Biggie like a long time ago.
Hmm.
Even following was even like much smaller. Not to say that like it
Right.
was super, but when it was much smaller, and I think it was literally like 10-9 Tupac or 10-9 Biggie or something like that.
Yeah.
Like
It would be
crazy.
very close for sure.
We
It
were
would
like,
depend on how like the songs lined up and so
we
forth.
were
But
like, I think it was like, yeah, but we were like, who's messing with these catalogs still? Like that's a problem. But that's another conversation for another
yeah.
show. Now, Hotel California.
Hmm.
Um, one thing that I realized, and maybe you can speak to this. Do you have any backstory for me? Because I heard that like there's a band switch that went on when I was doing my research about when the song went on. Because there's a new band member that came in,
Yeah, Joe
and that
Walsh was a new guitarist that came in, like not for this song, but for this record. I'm pretty sure I read that. I'm sure somebody in the comments is going to correct me, but I'm pretty sure Joe Walsh. That's when
okay.
he
So did he remain a member of this
hmm
group, or was he
is
okay?
still yes.
So he's part of the Eagles.
Hmm. Yeah.
So did somebody leave the group, or is he just an add-on?
Yeah, I don't remember what the guy's name was, but yes, somebody left at that time too, or before this record. Before by record, I want to clarify too. The name of the album is Hotel California, as well as the song.
Right, right,
Right. So
correct.
just I know you know that, but just for the wider audience.
Right. So do you think this band switch um, is musically like what the difference is? Because I mean, like stylistically, are they doing stuff like this before him?
No. Like that's an interesting question. I never really thought about that. But
Right.
yeah, he's um
About band switches, especially if you're talking about like somebody who plays something as big as a guitar in a like country rock band.
right. And he's not the only guitarist, but like
Right.
nobody's playing like Joe Walsh is, like that style. He's more of a bluesish and the solo that the outro solo is more bluesish. I mean, it's got that influence in it for sure.
It
Um
feels funky.
yeah, it is funky. Um And yeah, like songs like Take It Easy and Desperado and those the ones that are more country-ish um are before that too.
Mm-hmm.
Um
So
um
he may have brought a little swag to the group, is what I'm saying. Because
oh yeah.
it
He
just
he
it feels
he's a cocky SOB. Like he's
right.
got
It feels
he's not quite
that's what
Keith Richards, but he's like that kind of he's got a
yeah,
little
got a
something
little
in it.
yeah. This record has something to it that their other records before them don't have, is what I'm saying. And I think
Hmm.
Moxie. I think Moxie is a good word.
Yeah,
You like that?
Moxie's a good word for it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got
Yeah.
Moxie, and it's all over this record too. Like
Hmm.
it's like this is the type of shit that it's like, nah, like you could play that around my neighborhood too because it sounds so funky still.
Hmm.
It's like, no, you would be a fool to cut that off. Be like, oh, you don't like Hotel California? Like, nah, you tripping. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? It's musically that good that it
Part of
transcends
what
certain.
now that I think about it, now that you say that, one of the other things that drives that is that the main, or not the main songwriter, but the songwriter of this song anyway, and many of their bigger songs is Don Henley, who was the drummer. So he's the one singing
Right.
it too.
Did he
So
do solo stuff too, didn't
yeah, he did solo stuff. He did. There's
he? I worked at a record store. I
yeah,
remember his.
like he did a really famous song with Stevie Nicks. And I've lost the name of it now, but I'm gonna look it up while you say something else. But yes, it's but I think his sense of rhythm and drums and stuff like that, I think that informs a lot of it because you don't see very many. You actually, let me say this a different way. You see almost none, almost no bands that have lead singers that are also drummers. It's a very, very rare thing.
That are
Um,
songwriters too.
mhm.
Oh,
Yeah. I
I
mean,
mean, quite frankly, do you have anybody else other than him for us?
yeah, there's only one. Phil Collins in Genesis,
Oh,
is one, but that's the only other one that I can think of off the top of
I
my
know
head.
that about Phil Collins.
Mm. Um, we'll have to do an episode Phil Collins Genesis like that kind of because they were big time too. They're one
Oh,
of the
yeah.
bands that's kind of like buried in the 1970s kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, or not talked about in the same kind of way that they should be, along with like Steely Dan kind of band. And they were kind of
Okay.
um in that kind of world. But um that's not again not the point. But Phil Collins is the other famous drummer that I know of that like is the singer for the band too. Um I mean, Ringo obviously sang some songs, but he was not there. There's no version of the Beatles where you would call Ringo Starr the lead singer. Obviously not. So,
No.
but and there's plenty. I don't want to short sell people. There are plenty of drummers that sing.
Right.
Most of them do harmony, but
That's why I
um,
said songwriter too. Be the
or
lead.
or Dave Grohl. Dave Grohl's another example, but he didn't write the songs in Nirvana when he was the main drummer, right?
Correct. Correct.
So
Correct. I mean, because I thought of him too, but I was like, well, those are all Kurt songs, pretty for the most
yeah,
part. So,
they are Kurt songs.
right. So he really was the drummer. Right.
Hmm.
Because the drummer's usually just the drummer. That's what it is. Like
Hmm.
usually drum.
Because that's
It's very integral to the record, as in
yeah,
like the start of.
yeah, but it's also using like all four of your appendages because you have to use both your feet and both your hands.
Right.
And people like I can't drum. I can't really even keep a beat just like this, right? Much less like be drumming with like both hands and both feet and remembering lyrics and singing. That's just
Oh, he's doing that.
he is, yeah. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. He's got one of those little I mean he and Phil Collins both had the little
The
things
little.
that are like
Yeah. Okay. Yep. 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 Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Okay.
So,
So, the lyrics of this record.
mhm.
So I'm going to tell you what my notes were.
Okay.
I don't know who wrote this song.
This is
I
a
don't
Don
know.
Henley song.
Right, right, right. No, no, no. That's what I'm saying. No, these are my notes. I don't know who wrote this song because I don't know the name of the person who wrote this song.
Yeah.
But they could be related to Stephen King because this is some top-notch writing out The Shining.
Yeah. It's some dark stuff.
Right. No, no, no. These sounds like this could be like scenes from The Shining.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I took the writing, but I mean that like in a horrifyingly beautiful way too.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh man, this is deep, this is dark, this is dense, it's abstract, um, psychedelic in the musical sense, you would say.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect for a mid-70s rock folk like country record. Like it's perfect.
About Southern California too, right?
Perfect. Like that's what I mean. It's like even the time frame of it, it's like I was like, oh, they did that in 76 too. It's like, oh, everybody got high to that shit now, didn't they?
Okay. Especially
right.
it was this and Dark Side of the Moon, yeah.
Right. People got
Floyd.
confused with this. I'm pretty certain there's a generation of people born in 1977.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And so, and I love the male psyche and the male ego of this song because, you know, we as men always incorporate the woman into our glory, but into our darkness and our gloom. You know, because the most memorable part of this song that I always remembered, like songwriting wise, was there she stood in the doorway. I heard the mission bell, and I was thinking to myself, this could be heaven, or this could be hell. That's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, it is. And there's lots of bars like that in the song too.
No, it's literally littered with those. I'm telling you, as a young man, the first time I heard the song, that's the part of the song that I remembered lyrically that stayed with me, and it's a little foreshadowing from it's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, sure, yeah, but I understand. I know you well enough to like go like to follow where you're going with that.
But the brilliance in the writing is all right there too. I was just using that as like a moment that I remember, but it's like you said, no. There's plenty of bars and bar work in here. Just like this, like hold on, and this is what I mean about how he contextualizes the woman. Her mind is Tiffany twisted. She got the Mercedes Benz. She
love
got
that so much.
Pretty boys that she calls friends.
Yeah, just to think about it a little. Her mind is Tiffany twisted, like he's talking about Tiffany's, like the department store one was Zoom, like so it's just like messed up on rich people stuff, like it's. Yeah. She's hunting that stuff, and the actual lyric is she's got the Mercedes Benz, Bends Benz, like it's a pun on Mercedes Benz, like the car, right? But the Benz being like the feeling that you get when you're scuba diving or whatever, and you come up and you feel like you're like crushed down like that. So it's oh man, it's giving me chills to talk about it, like it's.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's good stuff.
I didn't know about it until I looked up the lyrics. That one I've known for a while, but like it's a good play on words. One of the things they do better than any other band, One of the things I wrote on here, I want to make sure that I'm saying this correctly. They have the Eagles as a band have not, I don't say not a good reputation among like rock, like snobs or whatever. Um, they're certainly not looked at in the same echelon as the Beatles or the Stones or whatever. Or even like they don't have it's weird to talk about street cred and talk about white people music, but like they don't have the same kind of street cred as even like the REMs and U2s and those kind of
What
bands
about
either.
Queen? Or
Queen is
what
like whole other.
what
It's thought
about
of as
what,
in at a different level.
what about Ozzy's band? What's
Black Sabbath.
Black Sabbath?
Um, Two different things. Like
Right.
they're, but like the respect people have for Sabbath is, I think, way different than the Eagles. I do.
But why do people not respect the Eagles, especially when the drummer is singing and writing songs at the same
Um,
time? To quote
they
Future,
definitely have like a more, I don't want to use the word redneck fan base, but like it's certainly a more working class.
that's what it is. Just call
And
it
I don't mean that like dismissively at all. Like but that's just
white
so
people.
I don't think like New
Hold on,
Yorker people get it
hold on.
in the same
Do, wh-
way.
do white people with money not fuck with the Eagles? Is that what you're saying?
And that's kind of what I'm saying. Like it's maybe they did then, but like the most famous
Or
line about the
how about this? Maybe the people that are fans of the Eagles, like their core fan base, maybe acquired their wealth after they became fans, and so they started off as maybe kind of I don't know. I'm funny about my white euphemisms. I try to be respectful, so I don't know which way to take
it's
that.
fine.
And off to you, Andrew.
It's fine. Nah, like
No, I mean that's just what I
mhm.
thought. That's what I heard you say. Pretty much, it's just like bougie white people don't like fuck with the Eagles the way they fuck
No,
with
they
the
don't. They don't. And
Eagles.
the most famous line about the Eagles in like popular culture is, do you know The Big Lebowski, the movie The Big
Yeah,
Lebowski?
of
Okay.
course.
I figured like you're
Okay,
the same
okay.
every all men our age know The Big Lebowski. Like that's
Listen,
just
I,
a
I worked for a whole company. I actually was just with the guy who helped them start their beverage company. I worked with the company whose sandwiches on the menu were all named after the big phrases
okay,
and
cool.
stuff. Right. That's a
Anyway,
whole nother.
so he gets in the car, he gets in a cab in the Big Lebowski, the dude and gets in the cab and says, and the guy's playing the Eagles on the cassette tape and he asks him to change it because he says he fucking hates the Eagles. Like as like this stoner California guy, which um and that's stuck. Like it's
Right.
and like dude, I like the Eagles. Like I'm not too bougie, I guess is the word that you're using. I like them. I like but I also come from hmm?
How the hell they sell all these records if people like don't?
Exactly. They're like people think of them or my impression is that a lot of people think of them as kind of a guilty pleasure kind of thing instead of
They like a Nelly or like Amigos are in rap, where
yeah,
it's like
maybe. Yeah. They're
right,
not
where
like the people don't talk about them like as lyrically complex and they don't talk about them as
right.
but they have all of those things like they set
This
all of
song
that's
has
coming back around to saying they set scenes in songs better than just about any band like on a dark desert highway cool wind in my hair the warm smell of colitas rising up through the air up ahead in the distance saw a shimmering light my head grew heavy and my sight grew dim had to stop for the night like that's a
bars.
scene.
Those are bars. That's what
That's a
those
scene. Like if you want to, we talk about this in the creative writing classes that I teach all the time. Like that touches all of the senses. It has smells, it has feelings, it has sights, it has all of the things in it. So it puts you and the music obviously mirrors that too. It's kind of a minor key riff. Actually, it is a minor key riff. It's not kind of,
I mean,
and so it puts you in that place.
well, writers are supposed to be descriptive. So let's go down everything you just said. Dark, desert highway, cool wind, my hair, warm smell, rising. Like
Hmm.
it's letting you know everything that's going on. Shimmering, I saw. Like
Hmm.
literally, like just from a literary like vocabulary level. The detail, the formation, the explanation.
Hmm.
And there's an allegorical ascension or a deconstruction of this
Yeah.
record in terms of the writing as well that I think
Yeah.
people are missing in terms of how he's progressing or digressing from scene to scene,
Hmm.
depending on how you look at it. you know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it really is just like walking through the hotel. I mean, that's the very basic frame of the song, right? Um,
But
the the song,
but is he walking through the hotel?
is it even a real hotel? I mean, like there's lots of
Right,
like
right.
metaphors going on, right? Um, I think it works on both of those levels. I think it does work if you're like walking, the mirrors on the ceiling, pink champagne on ice. We're all just prisoners here of our own device, right? That's like there are um
I thought the mirrors on the ceiling line was like very sexual innuendo
oh, it
too.
is without question. And it's a hotel, like, and it's
Right. Yeah.
a decadent hotel
So
in a
think
very
about it.
decadent time, um, in a decadent place. It's the picture of the they don't say it's the Beverly Hills Hotel, but the picture on the cover of the album is the Beverly Hills Hotel.
Right.
Um, one of the other reasons I guess that I put these two songs together is that most songs that are about California are about sunshine, free love, beautiful people, that kind of thing, right? And these two songs are not. They're both dark, apocalyptic kind of things. Pac's like the lyrics in Pac's song are not as apocalyptic as I mean the video obviously is like Mad Max Fury Road kind of shit, right? I mean that's
Correct.
um but um it's about the dark this Hotel California specifically to me anyway is about like a dark apocalyptic side of California that the like the siren song of like sunshine free love hippies blah 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 can be hypnotic and it can be deadly and it can destroy your soul too. It's not all fun and games. I use the phrase siren song on purpose because I think it's apropos for what he's talking about. I mean like you can check out anytime you like but you can never leave. Like um that's very much the sirens in the Greek mythology, right? I assume you know the story, right? So I'm going to tell it very, very briefly, just for the people
Oh,
who don't know.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
the
That's a little history.
the sirens appear lots and lots and lots of times in Greek mythology. Basically, they are harpies. Essentially, they're women, or they appear as women with beautiful voices, who essentially hypnotize people who hear them, and they don't ever want to leave the sound of their voice. All right, and they live on an island, like off the coast of Greece or whatever. That's it. They're one of the groups or the dangers that Odysseus faces on the way back home from the Trojan War. And that's probably the most famous encountering of them, but there are many others as well. Odysseus asks his crew because he really wants to hear the siren song or the sirens, so that he asks them to tie him to the front of his ship, um, so he can hear them but not get it like run away. Um, so I think in many ways, California, not just a song, but like as a metaphor, generally, it calls people in a way that not many other places do. And it
There's
calls
in
people
Champagne.
with the ideas that everything is beautiful and warm and and fair and all of those things. And it does have those qualities, but also there's a lot of dark shit too.
I always tell people it's like, you know, the same place where they do the Hollywood Boulevard, like where they do the Star Walk of Fame.
Hmm.
Oh, you would never walk there by yourself at night.
Hmm.
I'm telling you. You know what I
Wow.
mean?
See, I didn't know that. I've never been. I've never
Oh
been.
yeah,
The only
like
SoCal place I've ever been is Palm Springs, which is not really the same kind of SoCal. That's
like
the desert.
Sunset Hollywood Boulevard, Melrose. That's like pimps, prostitutes, motherfuckers getting robbed, shot. Like, yeah,
Mm. Mm.
yeah. That's you in Cali. Like people understand. It is like so, and this is what I mean. And I really feel this way about this record. You know, my overall thought is that this record is actually a satire
Hmm. Tell me more about that.
because the hook that's so infectious is actually satirical. It's tongue in cheek,
Oh, it is. Yes,
and
I agree
so
with that.
and so if you actually listen to the lyrics, he's really trying to explain a place to you that you think is heaven, but if you've really been there, you would know that it's hell.
Hmm.
That's why it starts off letting you know on a dark desert highway. See, most people don't understand how much desert is in
A
California.
lot, a lot. I was surprised. I've been, I mean, my wife is from like just north of San Francisco. And but yeah, like when you just get past a little bit outside of that, it's all desert, rocky mountain,
Well, this is what
whatever. Not Rocky Mountains, but like, you know what I mean.
I lived in Riverside.
Hmm.
Brush fires regularly.
Yeah.
It's there's desert area out there. And so the first bar of the song is letting you know this ain't all palm trees and water, motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what I mean, where it's like, well, California is America's version of heaven, and he's telling you, no, 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 you're walking into hell.
Yeah.
You're not walking into heaven. You know, and that's why think about how it starts, where the warm smell of colitas, the smell of marijuana. So he's like, it's dark, it's desert, weeds in the air.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's letting you know what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, it's like this ain't really the place that you think it is. You know,
Yeah.
and all this stuff is like, listen to what he's saying. You can bring your alibis, as in like this is a place of sin.
Hmm. Oh, it is. Yeah, that's one of the biggest points of the song. This is and I don't know. I go back and forth whether he's passing judgment on that. Like he's like, this is not what you should be doing, but he is saying for sure that this is it will hook you in and not let you
Mm-hmm.
go. Like that's absolute. I mean, he says that explicitly in the last two lines. You can't
He's
kill the
bringing up
beast, right?
Tiffany, Mercedes,
Yep.
courtyards, corridors,
Mhm.
setting the whole scenery for you. It's like, oh yeah, it's so lush, it's so lavish, it's so nice. He's like, no, no, no,
This is
no.
this is dangerous, is what it is. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's
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 fancy.
dangerous because it looks beautiful, and I mean that's part of the woman's metaphor, right? Like, I mean, it's somebody who looks beautiful, who is dangerous, and that's I mean that's a siren too, right? I mean, a siren is it looks like a beautiful woman until you get up close and is not, right? Is dangerous. So
I think the last bit of the song is actually what sums it up best, where it's like, we are programmed to receive. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave.
mm,
But I mean, like the brilliant writing of the song is literally everywhere. It's like some of the best stuff that I've seen that we've covered,
yeah,
like easy
it's
on either side, like on either side.
yeah, and that's one of those things that I wanted to do an Eagles song, especially this one, because they are not in the wider culture recognized um, as great lyricists, as great songwriters. That's not like they are known for the harmonies, and because the harmonies are beautiful, like they're really really good. Um, if you know Seven Bridges Road, you know that song.
Yes, I
Okay.
do actually.
Like that, like with that acapella part they do at the beginning of Seven Bridges Road, that's the that's one of those defining harmonies that stick in my head. So that's one of the things that they're known for. But like lyricism, not really. Like that's not a thing they're famous for, but they're surprisingly good lyricists.
Yeah, I mean, even when like this, I mean, I took this as a dream metaphor. So I called up
Yeah,
the captain. Please bring me my wine. He said we haven't
I
had
had
that
that
spirit
spirit.
here. 1969. That's where I was like, oh, this shit's like The Shining. That's
Mhm.
like when Jack Nicholson's at the bar,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing. But it's like, no, that's brilliant because that's the moment when you're watching The Shining. You know, and the book is way, way more eerier.
Yeah.
But you know, when you're seeing the visual aid of it, you know what I mean? That's the point if you haven't read the book where you're like, oh, oh.
Hmm.
And it should be the same thing lyrically, like musically, when he gets to that part. That's what I mean about the digression. It's like, oh, oh, you're gonna like even take us through the dream sequence of the occurrence of
Hmm.
it. Like, you know what I mean? To like even explore the depths of it
Right.
even further. No, 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 that's brilliant songwriting.
Yeah. And you have a bunch of scenes that could be read as positive and beautiful, like out of context, like mirrors on the ceiling, pink champagne on ice,
Champagne
like
on
dark desert, like all of those images are beautiful.
it. Mm-hmm.
Tiffany, Twisted, Mercedes Benz, like all of those things, um, are beautiful, like independent of the story. Like if you took them out of the story and put them somewhere else, then you would think of, oh, that's beautiful. if you're like watching them on TV or whatever, right?
Right.
But um, but the line that comes after um, "Pink champagne on ice" is what? We're all just prisoners here of our own device, right? Um, and
So listen, that's the power of writing, though. To
mhm,
take those things that are independently beautiful, but how you deconstruct them and pour them into a song or into a writing format, it can
yeah,
totally change the frame of those images.
yeah.
Yeah. So, you got any more notes about this one, or
I
you want
mean,
to
I
move?
could keep going about this, but I think that's probably a good place to stop. We can move on to because
Cool.
I think a lot of the things we've said about
Another,
this song fit with California Love too.
like what parts? Since we're flipping, what parts do you feel like align about these two records?
I mean, beyond obviously the name of the songs, they are both songs that describe parties or party kind of scenes in different
Mhm.
ways that are not all cheerful and roses and happiness. I mean, the beginning of Pox versus Fresh Out of Jail, right? Like it's
Out, out on bail,
yeah,
out of California dreaming. As soon as I step on the scene, I'm hearing hoochie screaming,
right.
fiending, money and alcohol. Yes, that
So
is how it.
that's not a positive set of languages to use. I mean, I'm not begrudging him the freedom in that line, obviously, but like
You
the
want to
way
know
he
it's
describes it, words like, I mean, fresh out of jail and fiending too. That's an addicted word too, right? So like those are not positive images at
mm-mm.
all. So it's and obviously the video imagery of that song too is pretty dark too.
Well, I mean, they took the Mad Max theme to make it apocalyptic, and this is what I mean. This is one of those rare moments where you have to understand he's literally fresh out of jail.
Hmm.
So when he's saying these words, I mean, I can't. It is one of those you had to be there moments. It really, really is. You
Hmm.
had to be there and to have seen everything that happened with him as an actor, as an artist, personally in court, prison
Hmm.
bids, and so to have him come back, and this was the thing about him, he always makes the tenuous sound good. And you
Hmm.
really have to listen to the words to understand that there is nothing. Because I want you to understand this. When you're listening to the words, you're like, this is actually dark and
Yeah.
tenuous. This was so
Yeah.
celebratory when it came out. People were so happy. And
It sounds like a celebratory song. You listen to it, like the synth and the riff and the California knows how to party. Like that sounds like a celebration, but it's not.
listen what he says: the life of a West Side player where cowards die and the strong ball. That's the reality of being like, that's the veil that I talk about.
Hmm.
It's like,
Yeah.
think about this. It's like he's fresh out of jail. And think about the things that he's seeing that he's talking about in his first few words. Like, think about
Yeah.
all the tenuous nature and all those circumstances just right there. He's bringing up the women. He's bringing up the indulgence of like, alcoholic devices. He's literally bringing up the juxtaposition about who survives out here in California streets in the first few bars.
Hmm.
The life of a West Side player
Right.
where cowards die in the strong ball.
Hmm.
Only in Cali will we riot, not rally.
Yeah, man.
To live
That's
die
in
in
LA.
LA, we wearing chucks, not ballads. And now he's letting you know we're not New York at all.
Yep.
In LA, we wearing chucks, not ballads. And then Dre comes in, yeah, that's right.
Hmm.
Yeah. So the
It's the
tenuous
Wild
nature
Wild West, right?
and the tenuous nature and the vitriol is strong.
Yeah, it's angry. Not I don't want to be like angry black man or whatever, but there is that
Our
undercurrent in there.
fury.
Yeah.
See, I don't even know if anger is a word. He's furious about a lot of things.
Yeah. And he should be. Like,
Yeah. Like he feels like he's been wrongly convicted,
hmm,
literally castigated in the media. He
yeah.
feels like they're literally rappers who were sitting in his spot. that would not be sitting there had he not been in prison.
Right. Also probably true.
He's right about all these things.
Yeah.
And so when people are like, why is he so angry? I'm like, oh no, he's not angry. He's furious. It's like it's past like anger is what happens like when you like stub your toe when you step on the wrong part of the step. Like that makes you angry and hurts. Like, no, no, no. He's been in prison for something that most people now recounting the story say he didn't do.
Mm-hmm.
That alone will leave a black man who is not even 25 years old yet furious. I think people keep forgetting that it's not like he was getting out of jail at 35. He wasn't even 25 when he got out of jail. He just got done being in Rikers Island prison. So it's like the fury and the vitriol and the tenuous nature is all over the record, and everybody's cheering. As a grown man, and that too is one of the more fascinating juxtapositions, because I was one of those people that was celebrating. Because I'll tell you what, so much was he beloved. I can remember the first time that I saw the video. I was on West Boulevard and Boulevard Homes at my friend Tremaine's house. And he was literally practicing the dance as soon as the video came on.
Wow.
Like, that's how big Tupac was to us. Like, my man saw the video one time and was already working on the dance moves.
Wow.
Like Pac's home, Coop. Like, it was a thing.
Okay.
You know? Yeah, it was a big, big thing. And so this record is this record, as much as like any hip hop record, it's like, oh, if you were there that summer, he came home. And you were a fan. There haven't been too many like there haven't been, I mean, I think the only bigger summertime hip hop song, in my opinion, is Summertime.
Oh wow.
Right. As far as like a summertime anthem that got released in the summertime, it goes Summertime, California Love.
Wow. Okay.
There. Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure. I'd have to think, when did Fight the Power get released? Fight the Power might have been summer. So if it's Fight Right. I think if Fight the Power got released in the summer, it's Fight the Power, Summertime, California Love, but that like all time summer anthem. And this is what I'm saying. Mostly about the man. Nothing about, like, think about this. When is something that, like, Dr. Dre's an afterthought on this record.
Yeah.
Roger Troutman samples, afterthought on this record. Mad Max theme, spending millions on afterthought. That's how big Tupac was. Like, no, you guys are side hands. You're stage hands. Tupac's home. You get what I'm saying?
You're setting them up. Yeah.
Right. You're just setup guys. This song also, too, allegedly created some of the riff, and that forged Dr. Dre leaving, because California Love was Dr. Dre's song.
Oh, okay.
Right. When Tupac came on, it was all hands on deck. So Suge was pretty much like, what you got that's good, we give to Pac, because he's been gone.
Okay.
And I think Dr. Dre is the only one that took issue with that, because it was an all hands on deck situation, but mostly about this record, because this was supposed to be the lead off single for him. Okay. And I'll tell you this, and this record is dope as fuck, and it's one of the best records ever. This song is not the same without Tupac on it.
No, so absolutely not.
Suge might be wrong for how he's handled some of his business and some of his tactics, but this record is not the same without Tupac on it.
No, this needs it. No. If it had Dre doing both of the verses, I mean, Dre's verse is good too. Like, that's an iconic verse too. But like, it's not the same song.
And putting Snoop Dogg or Ice Cube on the second verse, and it better be some of their best shit.
Yeah,
because Pac's rapping out of prison was his best rapping. Like the stuff that's all on All Eyes on Me, Book 1 in particular. Oh, this is his best stuff. And so that's what I mean. Is it's like, oh, no. That's Tupac on his A game. So
there's not many better.
No, period. Like, in Ice Cube at that point, I don't think was a better rapper, and neither was Snoop. And so that's what I mean. Is it's like, no. Suge wasn't right for how maybe he did a lot of things, but he's right about making sure Pac got that record. That record ain't the same with two Dr. Dre verses. It's not the same with Snoop on it, even in my opinion, because I don't think that Snoop can rap over anything because he's super gifted. But the bounce and the energy to that record is made for somebody like with Tupac's energy. Yeah. That's what I mean. Yeah. So the record's not
like the songs that I hear in my head for like Snoop doing are more like smooth um riding the beat kind of songs. And can I use the word attacking? Is that a good word for like what he's attacking the beat? Am I saying
Yes,
that? Yeah,
that's
okay.
Pac. No, that's
Yeah.
what I mean. Pac is emotional and impassioned, and on to the next two. He has a notorious studio work ethic, so he's
Hmm.
trying to get it, bang it out as hard as he can into the next one.
Okay.
Like there's stories about how he used to tell dudes like, you need to have your fucking verse done. Like by the time I get done writing mine, record the shit and be done, or I'm gonna come take your next verse and you're not gonna be on the song.
Wow.
So the level of aggression and energy is not just like a ferocity that comes from this man is impassioned like this naturally. That's what I
Hmm.
mean. He's special. Like he's passionate naturally like this. That's what I mean. So think about a man that's like this impassioned like this, and then think about everything that he's been through, and that's who you're getting. He was
Yeah.
already a force of nature, like without all of these um like highly adverse circumstances
Right.
occurring.
And now he's turned
Right.
up to 11. Yeah.
Right. He was already on 10. So now we have 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Hmm.
Right. And so when people are like, why Pac so mad? It's like, did you just like, this is a guy whose first single was Brenda's Got a Baby. So
Yeah.
he's a very passionate guy about the things that he's seen. How many rappers start off with like, Brenda's Got a Baby? Like you're
Hmm.
literally talking about a pregnant mother throwing a baby away in her trash can as a first single?
Yeah.
That's somebody with passion. That's somebody with guts. You know what I mean? So he's
Hmm.
this guy. And so now you have him on 15. And so they're giving him music like this for him to get all of this out too. And this is the first single. This is the jump off. And they made it as such. They made it apocalyptic. I'm pretty certain
Hmm.
Tupac didn't come up with the Mad Max thing.
Probably not. Yeah.
Yeah. He typically didn't do stuff like that video wise.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like it's
But he was home. It was a whole show.
yeah. I can say from like my side of the world that this and Gangsta's Paradise are probably the two biggest crossover ones, like in my memory from like high school-ish years. I mean, there are other obviously huge songs, but like those are the two that like everybody knew. Like, I mean, there are others too. Miss Jackson was. I mean, like there are others, but like those two, California Love and Gangsta's Paradise, are the two that like were just like worldwide phenomenons,
Okay.
independent of hip hop or independent of whatever. Like they were, and they have similar characteristics. I mean, they have people on top of their game. They have sing along hooks. They have like they have a lot of those things that go along with crossover hits. But they also
Right.
have MCs at the top of their game too.
Right. Well, here's what I mean too, and this is what part of what makes it special. Like, Death Row and Dre, that's a Southern Cal thing. People have to understand, like hip hop in NoCal, like where your wife is from,
Right.
in SoCal. Oh, that's two different worlds. Like
Right.
NoCal,
They're
that's
different
that's
worlds,
four.
period. Yeah.
Yeah, I tell people Northern California and Southern California, or North Carolina and South Carolina are more like the Northern
Oh yeah.
California and Southern California. There needs to be a Northern South. You could have a Carolina, and you definitely need a Northern California and Southern California
Hmm.
separation. There might even need to be a Central California if you really want to know
There
the
are. I
truth.
mean, they talk about it as Northern California, like Central Valley, essentially, and
Yeah,
then
yeah, Central
yeah,
Valley Plains, mountain, like everything in between, wine country right there, no cow. So because that's how it runs. It's like you're literally like in palm trees and shade, and then you run into like this hilly, and you're like, what are you doing here? Making wine and milk and cheese, and it's like farms and wineries. And
hmm
then you get out of it, and it's like before you know it, you're like in Sacramento or some shit. And you're like, what the fuck? Where are all these
you're in the
trees
middle of
from?
the desert again, essentially. Yeah,
Right. No, no, no. In Sacramento, then it's like, where are the trees again? Then you get to where your wife is, and you're like, we're in the fucking desert again. It's like, did we just go? Are we in the same state?
yeah, yeah.
You lose your mind. And so, like, it's different. E40 and Short are the Bay.
Right.
Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, Easy E, that's SoCal. These are different sounds and different styles.
Mhm.
Here's what's special about Tupac. Tupac started with Digital Underground. That's NoCal. That's Oakland.
Right.
So when he's going down and joining Death Row, it's like, oh, this is the first guy that really done had it like on lock.
On both ends. Yep.
On both ends. It's like, no, no, no. Everybody up in NoCal, know Pac, respect Pac, love Pac. A lot of people from NoCal are on All Eyes on Me.
Mhm.
Mac Dre, E40. So he bought the Bay with him, Pac's origins are not SoCal, they're NoCal. He started with Digital Underground. Same old
Mm,
song was his first
that's
verse.
cool.
Right. He was a backup dancer for Digital Underground. He's in the Humpty Dance video, Andrew.
For real? I didn't know that.
He's a backup dancer in the Humpty Dance video.
Learn something.
Right.
This is one of my favorite parts about doing this is because I learn shit like this. Like this is super.
Yeah.
Like that's cool. Like there's so many pieces that fit together when you start talking about all these people.
Let me tell you how popular he was early on. My cousin, the painter, eight
Hmm.
years older, the one who 8 years older than me, who put me on to hip hop,
Hmm.
used to be practicing Tupac's dance moves to do the Humpty right. Right. This is how, like, so when I mean he had a following very, it's like, oh, no, no, that's the nigga from Digital Underground that can dance. It's like, oh, he raps too. It's like he acts. It's like,
Mm. He's a very
uh,
talented human being for sure.
right. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, well, and then, yeah. And so, like, all that effect. And so, this California love thing, that's what I mean. Suge's not wrong. He's like, oh, no, no, no. This is perfect for Pop because Pop got that Northern California love. Like,
Hmm.
they fuck with him tough. He spent more time in the Bay than he
Yeah.
really did in LA outside of, like, I think doing like Above the Rim.
Yes, I mean that's like Oakland, Berkeley Panthers. Like I mean, all that stuff is Berkeley,
That's
Oakland. Yeah.
that's why if you listen to what he says. Let me serenade the streets of LA. But then what does he say? From Oakland
And
to Sacktown,
down
the Bay
the
Area.
area,
How he went, he shouted out his because he knows where home is for him. See, he just said
because
L.A.
all
real
three of those places are northern before he
right.
goes back down, right? Like
Right. He
it's
said, let me serenade the sweet self. Let me get y'all straight. But my home is Oakland to Sacktown, the Bay Area, and now back down. You get
yeah.
what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
he's even letting you know even where he's from in Cali on his verse. You just got to know
Yeah.
history. So he's actually more of a NoCal guy than a SoCal guy. The Northern Cali guys took Pac in long before Death Row.
Yeah. It's a funny sidebar there that Dre's the one that says Frisco in the sign. And people in San Francisco do hate the name Frisco. They don't like them calling the city Frisco. They don't want to call it San Francisco. And he's not the one who says it. Dre's the one who says it.
I didn't know.
Well, yeah, it's not like they're not like angry about it, but like it's not considered a polite thing to do for sure. So, and I don't think is doing it like as an insult on purpose. It's
It's one
just
of
he's doing it because it fits with the rhythm of the song, honestly. But like um, but it's not a thing that somebody from the Bay Area would say, right?
no, right. It's that would be a pigeon,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And not a bird. People, there's a thing called a
Yes,
pigeon.
I'm. Yeah, explain to the people what you mean. Like I know what you mean, but like it's
I mean, a pigeon. It's funny. You're the teacher. I'm explaining what a pigeon is. Okay, the best way I could describe a pigeon for those that are following is that if you're familiar with Geechee or
mhm,
Creole, those are considered to be pigeons. It's a succinct dialect that's used in a region
yeah,
where the people understand it, and maybe people outside of the region don't understand the lingo. And NoCal has a lot of pigeons.
yeah, they do.
Like there's Oakland lingo, there's
Yeah,
just Bay or Yay area lingo, there's San Francisco
yep,
lingo. And so that's what a pigeon is. It's just a glorified term for like a vernacular that's used by a specific set of people in a
yeah,
specific area.
yeah.
So
That's a beautiful definition. That's better than I could have said it. So
big on pigeons, not the birds.
one of my favorite parts about the show is when we start talking about the similarities between songs like this. Like like I said earlier, the idea to pair these songs together came from the titles, basically. But then we like dig into the lyrics and dig into the things, and they're actually a whole lot more alike. There's a whole lot more layers of like, because I'll tell you this, like on my playlist where I was pairing this stuff up, because I'll pick. Well, let's say then I listen to like if you say let's do California Love or let's do whichever songs, then I like have that one. Then I put like my initial reaction, and but then I'll put like three or four or five other songs after it, just kind of hear like how they fit. And as you well know, like in the wider world, there's a billion songs about California. Like California Dreamin', especially like to think about with this one because Pac even like uses that phrase. There's a
California.
song. Yeah, California Dreamin' is a song by the Mamas and Papas from the 60s. Um, and Zeppelin has a song called Going to California. Joni Mitchell has a song called California off the same album as the Case of You.
Case of You.
Um, yeah, it's there's tons and
I
tons and
remember
tons.
that record. Her California record's dope.
It was amazing, but I don't think it fits as well with California Love as Hotel California does.
No, this was a song. This is an excellent pick.
Um, but so I was listening, and I mean Hotel California obviously is the choice because they're both. All the other ones talk about, generally speaking, talk about California as this mecca, like as this beautiful place to go to, that we're leaving our homes and coming to California, which is how California became a thing in the United States anyway. People leaving their homes and going out west for the gold rush initially, anyway. But um, obviously there are people there living and there are Spanish settlers, and that's not really the point of the show. But in music, generally, California is represented as like a beautiful kind of place. And these songs hit both sides of it. Like they do talk about how beautiful it is, and they do talk about the lovely stuff there, but also the stuff that's darker. And because there's plenty of songs obviously that are about California that are all dark too. Like Welcome to the Jungle by Guns N' Roses, for example, is a darker song about California. That's dark.
I
Like
didn't know that. I didn't know that was a song about.
that's an SNLA song too. Yeah.
Okay.
When Axl Rose is from, this is not the point of this episode, sorry. Axl Rose is from Indiana. So this is when it's sort of about when he goes out there to LA and is all the crap that they get into. Anyway, we'll have to do another one on Guns N' Roses because that's another one of those huge iconic bands. So
Guns N' Roses pretty big.
but there are plenty of other hip hop songs that are much darker about California too. So
Well, see, that's the thing, especially in hip hop. It's like, well, artists who aren't from California rarely talk about California. Only the two biggest ones are obviously LL Cool J and Notorious B.I.G. going back to Cali,
right.
the original, the remake. But outside of that, you really don't find artists not from California in hip hop dedicating songs to California. And I'll tell you why. California is very, like, California rap artists don't need anybody else to survive. No. They just need California.
Right.
And so there are a ton of artists who literally can make just music even for the section of California that they're in, whether it's NoCal or SoCal, and be totally fine. And so that pigeon type of feeling keeps everybody from doing that too, because also too, Cali's the type of dangerous place sometimes for blacks because of gang life and gang culture.
Right.
But you be mindful what you say when you're talking about Cali. Like Cali's one of them places where you can't just be talking about Cali and then pulling up in Cali like and not knowing what your rules are. Right. Not that kind of place. You're gonna end up. I mean, I hate to say it. There are 2 rappers that have been murdered in LA in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Recently happened at a very famous spot out. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. This is you got to know your B's and C's, and you got to know your P's and Q's. Like all 4 of them.
Yeah.
And so, you're not going to see as many California hip hop records from non-California people. Just about that. Now you have somebody like YG who's from Compton. Oh, he reps Compton all day, and it's all straight Cali talk. But you can do that when you're from Cali. You're not from Cali in hip hop. You got to be mindful of that.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it needs to be a homage record. That's why, like, going back to Cali are homage records.
Right. And Welcome to the Jungle is too. Like, I think those two actually would go together really well. I mean, going back to Cali and Welcome to the Jungle.
I thought we did going back to Cali.
We hadn't done going back to Cali, no.
No, I guess my problem would be with going back to Cali. Because I happen to like LL Cool J's going back to Cali.
That'd be fun. That'd be cool. Because it's both of those are perspectives on California that are from people who are not from there.
Well, time-wise, too, falls closer in line with Axl Rose, too.
Yeah, that record was 1987.
So going back to Cali by LL is like 1989.
So that'd be perfect. We might have to dial that one up for um one of the next few.
No, I'm with that. See, this is part of what I enjoy about doing this with you too, is it's just like the stuff that we come up with is some of the
Hmm.
most fun stuff to me. It's like the pairings. And then the pairings unfold and it's like, oh, I don't know about you. I get confirmation every time that we do this that we're doing the right thing because it
Hmm.
always finds a way to make sense. And that's the beautiful thing about music. It's supposed to bring people together.
Amen, brother. Amen.
Yeah. So I love it when we have like moments like this where we like take these fabrics from different cloths of life and like make a quilt. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad it worked out well. This is about to cut itself off, so
Well, yeah. I mean, it usually does when we do it because
yeah,
like the music does it because the music's there. So
yeah. It's kind of ride along with it, and
right,
just
you get you some rest, man.
yeah, man. Thanks, I appreciate you. It was a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
No, it was. This one was fun. I knew it would be too. I had a good
Yeah,
feeling.
they're two fun songs. Yeah,
They are. They're two fun songs at the end of the day for all the tenuous nature and
yeah,
circumstances.
yeah.
Heaven
They're still about parties, right? At the
they're
end of
still
the day.
yeah, they're still dope ass party records. Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Like
All right,
even for all
man.
the breakdown we just did, it's like at the end of the day, dope party record. Yeah.
Yep. The
Yeah.
end. Cut.
The end. All
All right,
right,
man.
man.
Take care.
You too.